Hey guys, I would like to start off by saying thank you for joining today and being part of my speech. So today I'm just going to be doing a speech over a personal story that I had, kind of just a lesson that I learned from it. And yeah, so let's get started. Have you ever been so sure that everything was going to go perfectly, only to have it all fall apart? That's exactly what happened to me on a camping trip. And it was in the middle of a rainy, muddy disaster that I learned one of my most valuable lessons. It was a few years ago, and my friends and I had been planning the camping trip for weeks. The idea was to escape the hustle and bustle of our everyday lives, disconnect from technology, and spend a peaceful weekend in nature. We envisioned perfect weather, hiking through the woods, sitting around a warm campfire, and sleeping under the stars. The day finally arrived, and I was so prepared, or so I thought. I'd packed everything: tents, sleeping bags, snacks, firewood, and even extra blankets just in case it got cold. As we drove out to the campsite, the sky was clear and the air was crisp. Felt like everything was falling into place just as we had imagined. But about an hour into our hike to the campsite, everything started to change. The dark clouds rolled in fast, and I brushed it off at first, thinking that it was just a little bit of rain, but we'll be fine. Before I knew it, that little rain turned into a full blown storm. The sky opened up, and it felt like we were walking through a waterfall. I remembered looking at my friends and kind of just awkwardly laughing because I was like, this can't be happening, right? When we finally reached the campsite, it was like something out of a survival show. The ground was a muddy swamp, and we could barely find a spot to set up the tent. The stakes wouldn't go into the wet ground, and every time we thought we had it up, it would collapse again. Our firewood, which we had carefully packed, was soaked, and our dreams of a warm campfire dinner were officially out the window. At this point, morale was really low. We were cold, wet, hungry, and absolutely miserable. I remember sitting in the half collapsed tent that night, water dripping through the seams, thinking, why did I think this was a good idea? This is a total failure. It wasn't the peaceful getaway we had planned, it was a complete disaster. But then something unexpected happened. As we sat there shivering and covered in mud, one of my friends made a joke about our situation, about how we had become camping amateurs in a survival movie. And somehow that broke the tension. We all started laughing, really laughing, because what else could we do? Then we were, there we were, stuck in the worst possible conditions. And yet, in that moment, it didn't matter anymore. We began sharing stories, talking about how ridiculous the day had been, and we realized that we were making a memory, even if it wasn't the one we had planned. The next morning, the rain had finally stopped, and as we packed up to leave, I couldn't help but smile. The trip hadn't gone the way we wanted, not by a long shot, but that's when it hit me that life is unpredictable, and no matter how carefully you plan things, can still go wrong. But that doesn't mean it's a failure. In fact, it's often those messy, unplanned moments that the best memories are made. So here's what I want to leave with you. Life won't always go according to plan, and sometimes things will fall apart in ways you can't control. But instead of fighting it or giving up, try to find the humor, the lesson, or even the joy in the unexpected. Sometimes the adventure you didn't plan for is the one that sticks with you the longest. Thank you.